Welcome to Quiet Strength. Tonight we are going to gently reflect on the story of David, a shepherd boy, a warrior, and eventually a king. But more than anything, David was someone who trusted God. If your heart feels tired tonight, if life feels overwhelming, take a slow breath, find a quiet moment, and listen to this peaceful story. Let it remind you that God often works through the most unlikely people, even people who feel small, even people who feel overlooked, even people who feel afraid. Long before David was a king, he was simply a shepherd, a young boy, watching over sheep in quiet green fields, day after day, night after night, while others lived busy lives in the town. David spent many hours alone, under open skies, listening to the wind, watching the stars appear slowly in the night. Many people never noticed him. He was the youngest in his family, often overlooked, often forgotten. But in those quiet fields, something important was happening. David was learning to trust God. When danger came, David protected his sheep. When wild animals appeared, David stood his ground. Not because he was the biggest, not because he was the strongest, but because he believed God was with him. Those quiet days in the fields, those lonely nights under the stars, were preparing him for something far greater than he could imagine. Sometimes life feels like those quiet fields. You feel unseen, unimportant, maybe even forgotten. But God sees what others overlook. God sees your heart, and the quiet seasons of life often become the preparation for something greater. One day, a battle was about to take place. The army of Israel stood facing a powerful enemy, and among the enemy soldiers, there was a giant. His name was Goliath. He was enormous, strong, and terrifying. Day after day, Goliath stepped forward and challenged the army of Israel. He mocked them, he laughed at them, and no one stepped forward to fight him. Even the strongest warriors were afraid. But David arrived that day, still just a shepherd boy. He heard the giant shouting. He saw the fear in the soldiers, and something stirred inside his heart. David knew something the others had forgotten. He remembered that God was with them. So David stepped forward, not wearing heavy armor, not carrying a sword, only carrying a sling and a few smooth stones. To everyone watching, it looked impossible. A young shepherd boy standing before a giant warrior. But David was not focused on the giant. David was focused on God, and with faith and courage, David released the stone, and the giant fell. That day, everyone saw what faith can do. Not perfect strength, not powerful weapons, but simple trust in God. Sometimes the giants in our lives feel overwhelming. Fear, pain, uncertainty. But like David, we do not face those giants alone. Life did not suddenly become easy for David. Even after defeating the giant, there were still many difficult seasons. David faced jealousy. He faced betrayal. He faced long years of waiting. There were moments when life felt unfair, moments when he had to run and hide, moments when everything seemed uncertain. But through every season, David kept turning his heart toward God. He prayed, he trusted, he waited, and slowly, God continued shaping his life. Years later, the shepherd boy, the boy who once watched sheep under quiet skies, became the king of Israel. Not because he was perfect, not because life had been easy, but because his heart stayed close to God. The same God who watched over David watches over you, even in quiet seasons, even when life feels uncertain, even when the road ahead is unclear. God is still guiding your story, just like he guided David. If your heart feels heavy tonight, remember the story of David, a boy no one expected, a shepherd no one noticed, a person who trusted God. Even when the path was difficult, God can work through quiet lives. God can work through waiting seasons, and God can bring strength even when you feel small. So tonight, take a slow breath, rest your heart, and remember this: God sees you. God knows your story, and just like David, your story is still unfolding.